Join me in my new marathon quest to find the greatest film ever made. Welcome to my new rankings series where I'm going to be ranking all the films from each year they were released against each other. So today I'm going to be doing 1971, and after this I'll be going year by year all the way up to the present day. I thought starting 50 years ago was a good place to start, not least because when I looked on Wikipedia, it just so happens I realised that there's 10 films exactly from 1971 that I've seen. Yeah, I'm not going to be binge watching every single film that was released in each year. That would be ridiculous. I'd basically be watching all the films ever. That's not going to happen. Now, I've not looked at what films I've seen in the years beyond 71, so it could be I might get to 1974 and realise I've seen like no movies from that year and there might not be a video. I don't know, but I'm optimistic that there will be at least quite a few films from each year. If I've seen 10 in 1971, then surely it's only going to get better as each year goes along. We'll see. That's the theory anyway. So there's going to be 50 videos in total, and then when I've done them all, maybe there'll be some kind of finale competition where the winner from each individual year gets to go up against each other for the prize of best movie ever, in my view. I don't know. I might let the second placed films go into some kind of playoff to get into that. I don't know. And if I do that, then I'll probably have to go back at the end and allow films from the 50s and 60s to have a chance to get in through the back door to the final or something, because there are films that old that I do like. I just don't think there's going to be enough films from those decades to justify me having individual years from like 61, 62, etc, etc. I think 1971 is a reasonable place to start if I think about the films I'm likely to have seen that far back. Right, let's get into today's list though. We've got 10 movies, like I've said, so let's find out what is my 10th favourite film that was released in 1971. Yeah, I probably should have said that any genre is allowed for this, even wacky kids films. As long as I've seen it, it might have a chance of getting on the list. Now, I used to love Bedknobs and Broomsticks when I was growing up. I saw it at least twice in primary school, in an assembly hall with all the other kids in my year, and I absolutely loved it. I was just gripped. But I saw it many, many years and decades later with my kids one Sunday afternoon, and I thought to myself, oh my God, this is shit. How did I ever enjoy this back in the day? It's not that the film is suddenly a bad thing, it's just very much for kids, and I certainly can't really enjoy it at my age. All that stuff with the soldiers in the third act is just absolutely silly to my mind now. So now we're into the good movies already, which bodes well for the rest of this list. Jewel was the film which made Steven Spielberg famous. I saw it twice when I was growing up on TV, and it's like a horror film really, watching this battle of wills between a car driver and a truck driver on the freeway, and you've got no idea why the truck driver is doing this. It's probably still a good film to watch today. I've not seen it for a long time though. This is one of Bruce Lee's best ever films, and I've got a cool story about this one actually, because I've got this friend who's sort of like a video editor, and many, many years ago he was given the job of touching up Big Boss for DVD release, and I went round to his workplace one Sunday afternoon just to hang out while he was working on this thing, and I got to sit next to him as he was literally touching up Big Boss frame by frame, going through this film, and it was sort of an interesting experience. I guess not that many people will have observed this process firsthand, so that was cool. Just in case you're not aware, the original run of Planet of the Apes films had 5 films in total. This was the third, Escape from the Planet of the Apes, and it was the last one that I saw because when I was growing up I watched 1, 2 and 3, and then I never got round to watching the 4th and the 5th. I'm not even sure what those films are called, and then obviously later on there were the reboots and remakes and stuff, but this third film was slightly different from the first 2 because it involved a couple of the apes going back in time to like the 19th century or the 20th century and trying to exist in the proper human world, I guess you'd call it. It was pretty good, though I still prefer the first 2. So here we have another kids film, but the difference with this one is that I can still watch Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory even today and really enjoy it. I watched it just last year, I think, with my kids. It pisses all over that remake that starred Johnny Depp from whatever year that came out in. The original film is just full of so much wacky and wonderful stuff. I even read the novel back when I was a kid. It's just such a unique movie. Gene Wilder is absolutely brilliant. Veruca Salt's probably my favourite character in the film. I sometimes tease my daughter if she's been a bit of a madam. I tell her that she's been like Veruca Salt and start singing that I Want the World song, which just annoys her. But anyway, that's another story. I feel like a little bit of a fraud only putting this one at number 5 because I usually call myself the world's biggest James Bond fan, but apparently this is only my 5th favourite film that came out in 1971. The truth is that there are just some better non-franchise films than Diamonds Are Forever from that year, I think. It's not like Diamonds is one of the better Bond films. I did my rankings fairly recently for the James Bond films, and I can't remember exactly where Diamonds came, but I'm pretty sure it would have been in the bottom half. But it's still a good film. I've seen it many, many times. Shut your mouth. This is quite a funny memory for me. I watched certainly the first 3 Shaft films on TV when I was growing up. I've never seen the remake that I believe has Samuel L. Jackson in it. I should. It's probably really good. Officially, right now, I'd probably say that the original Shaft is still my favourite. I would definitely remember the second one being really good as well. I don't think the third was that good, although it's been a long, long time since I've watched any of them. This original film is quite a serious film from what I can remember. It's just a good, solid cop thriller, and I'm curious to watch it again. There's so many films that I'd love to watch again that I've just not watched for such a long time. So this is the unlucky spot on the list, I guess, because films which come third will not be going forward to the Champion of Champions video much further down the line. If you come second, you might get in. French Connection is still a great film, though. Gene Hackman and Roy Schneider working together as cops, trying to chase down this scumbag villain. It's just an extremely well-written film. I've seen the sequel as well, The French Connection 2, which is not as good. That one takes place in Marseille. This first one is just brilliant. It's Gene Hackman at his absolute peak. I'm spotting a bit of a theme as we get towards the higher end of this list. There are lots of kind of gritty cop thrillers with cops getting down and dirty on the streets of some big city. So we've had Shaft, The French Connection, and now Dirty Harry. This one's great. Clint Eastwood chasing down the Scorpio killer in San Francisco. There were 5 Dirty Harry films in total, and I think this one is still the best. And by coming in second place, it has earned itself a place in the playoffs that I'm going to be doing for the films which come second in each list. So this film may yet end up appearing in my top 100 films of all time list. Further down the line, we'll see. So here we have our first winner then. It's the classic 1971 film Get Carter starring Michael Caine. A friend at uni introduced me to this film and we ended up watching it like 3 times together, I think. It's got a great soundtrack. It's a brilliantly written film. If you like gritty British gangster films, then you need to check this one out because it's absolutely amazing. Definitely one of Michael Caine's best ever films. And I think this is a worthy first finalist to go into the eventual Champion of Champions video. So there we have it. There is my first video in this series complete. That was 1971. And I'll be back soon to do a rankings for the films that I've seen that were released in 1972. If you enjoyed this, see you again next time. Bye-bye.